Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, January 10th, 2018. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. Bax, let's just cut to the chase. And I know Dan Rubin and Dwayne Long talked about this on yesterday's show as well, but it's a big topic of conversation. Alabama, of course, winning the national championship. Nick Saban going with Tua in the second half over Hurts. I mean, what a ballsy move, and everybody's drawing the parallels with, would Urban have done the same thing? It's not exactly apples to apples because Hurts is a sophomore, not a fifth-year senior, not a three-time captain, Tua is a freshman. So not exactly the same thing with Barrett and Haskins, but a lot of people are asking, would Urban have done the same thing? How would you answer that question?
Hell no. We've seen it hasn't happened. Urban had the gift given to him of JT getting his knee messed up at Michigan, and Haskins coming in and saving the day with 17 points on 4 drives and outgaining JT 3-2 and 4 drives versus 9 from JT, and he still went right back to Haskins the next week. This is something that, watching that game, I was sick to my stomach because it wouldn't have been Alabama there. It would have been Ohio State there, and I believe that with every fiber of my being. Had the decision been made to make a change to sort of – Nick Saban said it best. He said, we need to pass to win the game, and I thought he did it better. Well, we all agreed Ohio State needed to pass to win some of these games, and Dwayne Haskins did it better. So, yeah, I don't think Urban would have even considered the move. We saw against Clemson he wouldn't have considered a move. We saw against Iowa he didn't consider a move, even though Haskins had already shown he could do it at that point. And then when given the opportunity to play Haskins, he rolled a JT Barrett 5 or 6 days after surgery against Wisconsin, and we had that game that was way too close, and Alabama got in instead. So one of the many reasons Nick Saban won a national championship is he's willing to switch quarterbacks. One of the many reasons that he also won the national championship was Urban's reluctance to do so.
Stick with the quarterback position. Is there any way Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow are on this football team in 2018 in the fall?
They will be on the same field in the fall if Nebraska wins the Big Ten West and plays Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. That's about it, because I think Joe Burrow is going to be a Nebraska transfer by the end of April. That's just my guess. I think the young man is, again, he's going to be able to graduate early. He's a very, very talented player. He's all kinds of familial ties to Nebraska. Scott Frost needs a quarterback up there. It's too perfect not to happen. And at this point, I think the Ohio State offense next year is going to be Dwayne Haskins doing the vast majority of the quarterbacking, and they're going to have a package for Tate Martell for him to take snaps. And it'll keep Urban happy. Maybe it'll be a successful version of the Wildcat with Braxton back in 2015, except that didn't work because everybody knew Braxton would never throw it. Martell actually can still throw the ball. So that's my guess as to what's going to happen, is that Haskins is going to get 90 to 95% of the snaps. There'll be a Martell package, and I think Burrow is going to say, I can play 2 years in Nebraska, so peace.
Yeah, I feel you're right. I would love, selfishly, all 3 of those guys to battle it out, even into the fall. But that seems unrealistic that all 3 of those guys are going to sit around and wait for the fall and feel like they're going to battle it out. I do feel like somebody's going to transfer, and it's probably going to be Burrow. We'll see, though. Maybe Urban can pull a rabbit out of his hat and convince all 3 guys to stick around. Really, I say all 3 guys. Really, the only guy that would transfer this offseason would be Burrow. I guess perhaps once Burrow wins the job, then Haskins might transfer. Who knows? I shouldn't make any absolutes, but I agree with you. I think it's probably going to be Haskins and Martell with Burrow transferring. The Alex Grinch news was made official on Monday, Bax. He's got now we know his contract details that came out last night. He's making $800,000 a year, signed a 2-year contract, but Ohio State seems to use bonuses even more than most programs, so he can make over $1 million per year if he doesn't have to have all of his bonuses. If he has some of his bonuses, he can make over $1 million a year. But I think the key is 2-year contract, and I feel like there's no question he is the defensive coordinator in waiting. He won't be the defensive coordinator this year unless Greg Schiano gets a head coaching job at the last minute or something. But just your thoughts on Alex Grinch, his contract, and him being DC in waiting.
I think Ohio State had an agreement with Grinch to become the defensive coordinator the moment Greg Schiano took the Tennessee job. And when Schiano had the Tennessee job blow up in his face, Ohio State said, we're still keeping you. We signed a deal already or agreed to a deal already, and you're going to come here anyways. We want you here regardless. You're an Ohio guy. and hey, we get an extra coaching position. So I think Grinch wanted to come back to Columbus so badly, he didn't really care about being the defensive coordinator in waiting sort of situation here. He's still making more money than he did at Washington State, and I think he knows full well, hey, he comes here and succeeds as defensive coordinator. You know, he'll have 3 years, let's say, as a defensive coordinator all by himself, or 2 years all by himself in his hometown. And by the way, at that point, Urban's going to be starting to approach 60. Then we have to start talking about replacements. If you want to be the head coach at Ohio State, you got to be able to come back here and have those ties. And I think Grinch, if he has that idea in the back of his head, just like his buddy Matt Campbell, this is something he had to do. So I think Ohio State's had this move in place since with the expectation Schiano was leaving. And then when he stayed, Urban was just like, cool, we'll just keep an even better staff in place. It's awesome for Ohio State.
Hey, real quick, I know you're about ready to catch a plane. Before I let you go, though, is Greg Schiano toxic now? I've said no, he's not because of the Tennessee mess. Some people disagree with me and say this guy's not going to get the head coaching job that he thinks he's going to get even next offseason. Where do you come down on that? Is Greg Schiano now a toxic name in the head coaching circles?
Oh, absolutely not. I think Tennessee is the toxic job in head coaching circles, and if Jeremy Pruitt doesn't succeed there, then nobody's going to succeed there because nobody's going to want to touch that job. You're going to have to hire another Derek Dooley. Tennessee's an absolute joke of infighting, and Greg Schiano was already getting talked about as potentially being the Arizona coach when Rich Rod got not fired, right? So I think Schiano's going to end up taking a fairly reasonably good job next year, whether it's some ACC job or it's a Big Ten job or whatever. He's going to be a head coach next year, and he's going to be a success somewhere. So and I don't think Ohio State would be in a hurry to rush him out, even if he isn't. Alex Grinch is young. He's got a lot of time to be at home in his hometown. So even if this is a 2-year situation, the results in the field are good. I don't think they're in a rush to run Greg Schiano out the door. It'd be like saying, well, Kevin Wilson's been here 2 years next year, so let's get him out of here. Heck no. If the offense is even better next year, we're not going to get rid of him. It's not like he's Tim Beck. So, I think Schiano will have a good job at some point in the near future. But if you're Ohio State, too many good assistant coaches is not a problem.
Yeah, what a great quote-unquote problem for this team to have. I mean, you have Greg Schiano, who takes Rutgers from nothing and at one point had them as a top 5 program in the country, ranked in the top 5, was there 11 years, and people harp on, he wasn't a great NFL coach. He actually was kind of bad. Well, Nick Saban wasn't that great as an NFL coach either. And, Steve Spurrier was a pretty good college coach. He was an absolute failure in the NFL. Schiano, and just look at what Schiano's done with Ohio State's defense while he's been here. He has just kept it going. He is a very good defensive coordinator. So just selfishly, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. And I think he's going to get a big-time settlement from Tennessee, whatever happens with that legal case, and I think it's going to work out for him monetarily. And selfishly for Ohio State, it's just great having Schiano around at least for another year. And I agree, I do not think he's toxic. And now you get Alex Grinch coming in, one of the rising stars in the coaching profession, to learn under Schiano for a year. And I think these guys are going to mesh well together. I know some fans might say that too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Maybe if they were there for 2 or 3 years together, there might be some problems. But for 1 year, I think it's just worked out perfectly for Ohio State. And their coaching staff right now, the way it's assembled, I don't think it could be any better. I'm just really excited about Schiano working with Grinch and what we have on the offensive side of the ball when you look at Kevin Wilson in year 2 with more of a passing quarterback. No question it's going to be more of a passing quarterback no matter who it is. I think Kevin Wilson is going to shine his second year as offensive coordinator. Ryan Day is an absolute rising star in this profession. Larry Johnson might be the best at what he does. On and on and on. This is a fantastic coaching staff led by Urban Meyer, who I know people are down on right now. Let's not forget he's won 3 national championships. So Buckeyes in good shape. We're always in good shape with the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. He is off. He has caught his plane. He is flying to Italy. No, I'm not kidding. I don't know where he's flying to. I doubt it's Italy, but if it's Italy, I hope you have a great time in Rome, Bax. He is the People's Champ, Matt Baxendell. I am Dave Biddle. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Bucknuts Morning 5. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.